Alright, animation basics. So using Adobe Flash Professional, we're going to start with a new ActionScript file. So ActionScript 3.0 is the current coding language for Flash, which we'll use to create buttons later on. At the top here you have the timeline, and each one of these individual squares is a frame. So in this current moment there are 24 frames per second. Within each frame, when there is a little circle, that represents a keyframe. If the circle is only an outline, it indicates that there is nothing currently on the stage. The white space down here, once it turns black, it means there is an object on the layer. So we're going to start with a basic cell animation, which is when you move the object in each cell by yourself. So I'm going to create an object, so just a circle. I can pick my color up here. So the paint bucket represents the fill, the pencil represents the outline. So if I wanted to move this object, I'm going to use the direct selection tool here. So in the first frame, I'm just going to leave it in a position. So to insert a new keyframe, I click on the second frame, right click and insert keyframe, and then grab the object and move it. So if I repeat this process over and over again, I'll create a little animation. Now instead of right clicking, you can also press F6 on the keyboard, which inserts a keyframe automatically. Now say I wanted to see what's happening in the frames before and after my animation, I can turn on this button here called the onion skin. So there's onion skin and onion skin outline. What these do is they show you the position of the animation in the frames beforehand. So at the moment it's showing me 2 frames before the current frame. I'm just going to turn it down to 1 by dragging on this white dot. I can extend it and you'll see it shows a lot more. I'm going to reduce it to 1 frame. Now you can see I've made 24 frames, so that's equal to 1 second of footage. If I want to watch it back, I can either press Control Enter or go up to Debug and press Debug here. So Control Enter will give me a preview showing you my animation. Now obviously for an animation to appear smooth, you have to move it evenly in each frame. If you make big movements, it means the animation will look very jumpy, like it does at the end of this one. So that was cell-based animation. I'm going to create a new layer now, so this button up here. Now this one is going to be a path-based animation, or a motion tween. With this type of animation, what happens is you set a start and a finish point, and the computer fills in the gaps for you. So you can see when I created a new layer, it automatically generated 24 frames or 25 frames, whatever there was on the previous layer. I'm going to just select and right click and remove those frames, and then click in the first frame. So I'm going to do a different color this time. Now, to create a motion tween, I need to convert my object to a symbol. So if I click on it, then right click. So if I go straight to create motion tween, it automatically turns it into a symbol. I can also go convert to symbol first and give it a name. I can also pick whether it's going to be a graphic, button or a movie clip. Now I suggest to start with you make everything a graphic, just because it makes it easier to assemble larger objects later on. So cool. Alright, so it's now stored in my library and I can retrieve it at any time. So if I delete it off the stage, just click and drag and it comes onto the timeline. Alright, to do my motion tween, I'm going to right click and now go create motion tween. Now by default, it generates 24 seconds or 24 frames, which is 1 second of footage, because that's the current file setting. If I turned it up, it would generate more. Now with this one, it's already got a starting point, so if I move to the 24th frame and move the object, it now inserts a keyframe there. If I wanted to extend the period for which that occurred over, I just drag out the end. Because I'm now in the 40th frame, and this blue ball doesn't exist in that 40th frame, I can't see it. If I wanted to make it exist, I have to just go insert frame, where it just copies the very last frame and fills in the gap. With my motion tween, if I wanted to make more points, I can either go insert keyframe. Now this time it gives me a lot more options. I suggest you always pick all. So that's created a new keyframe, so another major finishing point. So I'm going to pick up here. And you can see it's generated the path again. Some other things you can do include bending the path. So with this direct tools, selection tools, I can hover over and you can see I can curve. I can also make angled corners and move my object around, and it automatically adjusts the path. So just to show you. Now obviously the motion tween is a bit quicker, but it doesn't give you as much control for editing.